Well, my other friend, she said, oh, I want a donut. Now, she loves to pray too, so she said, Lord, if you want me to have a donut, let there be a parking space in front of the donut shop. And you know, there was. The 25th time she drove around the block. Well, the minister asked Johnny if he said his prayers every night, and he said, oh no, Mommy says the prayers for me. And Pastor said, the minister said, well, what does she say? And the answer was, she always says, thank God you're in bed. But one lady made the mistake of asking her 4-year-old to say the prayer when she had invited some people over to her home for lunch. And the child was not wanting to do it, and so the mother said, well, the child said, Mom, I don't know what to say. And Mother said, well, just say what I say. And so the child said, okay, and bowed her head and said, oh God, why did I invite these people over here today? Well, Johnny had the family Bible, and he opened it up and something fell out, and it was a leaf. And he got so excited, he said, Mom, I found this leaf. And she said, really, you found a leaf? He said, yeah, I think it's Adam's suit. Of course, Eve is the one who said, as the first woman, I haven't a thing to wear. But Eve was like us, and she would say, Adam, do you love me? And he said, there's no one else. Well, a man was marooned on a desert island, and he got rescued. After 25 years, they rescued this man. And so he was on the ship, and they looked back, and there were 3 grass huts on the island. And so they said, well, what are those 3 houses? He said, well, that one's my house, and that one's my church. And they said, the rescuer said, well, what is that 3rd building? And the guy said, that's the church I used to belong to. Well, you'll probably have to say ouch after this joke. A $20 bill and a $1 bill were having a conversation. Now, the $20 bill said, I have been to Walmart, and I've been to the dollar store, and I've been to Macy's. And the dollar said, well, I went to the Methodist church and the Lutheran church. This young man struck it rich in the stock market, and his mother was a poor widow, and so he wanted to buy her a wonderful gift. So he went to the pet store, and he said, I want the rarest, most expensive pet you have. And the shop owner said, well, I have this parrot that he can recite the 10 Commandments and scriptures. And he only cost $50,000. So the man said, nothing is too much for my dear mother. He bought the bird, the parrot, and sent it off to his mother. So the next couple days later, he called his mother. He said, Mom, did you get the bird? And she said, yes, I got the bird. Thank you. It was delicious. Oh, this is a nice hat, isn't it? Well, Pat's got the well of temptation up there. I think it's this one first. Somebody just said, well, don't quote me. I can resist everything except temptation. So I know Pastor's the one that said, do not take temptation lightly because it may never come again. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Yes. But, well, I'm going to ask you a question from the Bible. Why was Abraham so smart? Because he had a lot. You know, Lot? You didn't get that. But she left anyway. So that's good. And I think I'll get you with this one. Where was Solomon's temple? Well, right on the side of his head. But of course, King David had the record for constipation. It says in the Bible that he sat on the throne for 40 years. Well, some really good Sunday school stories. Maybe you have one that you can share with me later. One Sunday school teacher asked the class where was God's home. She expected the answer would be heaven, but one little boy said, well, at my house, it's the bathroom. And the Sunday school teacher said, why would you say the bathroom? And he said, well, every morning, my dad bangs on the bathroom door and he says, my Lord, are you still in there? Well, one little girl said, Mother, is it true what the Bible says, that you turned to dust? And she said, yes, honey, the Bible says we come from dust and we return to dust. And the girl got a little scared and she said, well, Mother, I don't know if they're coming or going, but someone's under my bed. Okay. This is a true story that I think is so precious. Some of you will be able to relate to it. The great-grandchild was told that great-grandma had died and went to heaven. So when the great-grandchild was, so grandma brought the great-grandchild over to the casket, and the child looked and then said, so this is heaven? And then the grandma tried to explain about the casket, and this is what I love. The child said, Grandma, it's a treasure box. And I agree. Back to Sunday school stories. You know that one little boy came home from Sunday school and his mama said, what story did you have at Sunday school today? And he said, Mama, we have this story about Moses. He came to the Red Sea and he called out his Corps of Engineers to build a pontoon bridge over the Red Sea. Now all the Israelites went over the pontoon bridge and then he called for some dynamite and they blew up the pontoon bridge when all the Egyptians were on there and they all died. And Mama said, are you sure that's the story you had at Sunday school this morning? And the boy put his head down and he said, well, Mom, you wouldn't believe what she told me. And so, since there are no men except Spirit, Son, and Creator, the reason that the Israelites wandered around in the desert for 40 years is because even back then, the men wouldn't ask for directions.
Not much has changed.
There was a